Hey guys, welcome to Business Coder. Today we are going to discuss what is the difference between software as a service business model and one-time purchase app business model. So if you know, most of the larger companies are trying to switch or already switched to software as a service business model. For example, let's say Microsoft. Previously, you could like just purchase their office software by paying a license fee one time and then using that, or even purchasing Windows with the license fee and without like recurring any payments. But in the past couple of years, seems Microsoft also jumped into trend of software as a service and moved their office software in a cloud, and instead of forcing people to download or buy a CD with the license code in it, uh, they are just marketing as that as software as a service platform, which actually makes more sense because if you understand how actually software as a service beneficial for the business itself, it's not more of a gaining first time a lot of payment, but instead understanding how much time your users actually going to use your product anyway, and just hook them up with more recurring payments. Because for example, if you have an application that you are selling with the $5 one-time purchase, you can definitely sell same application with $2 or $3 payments per year or per month. And based on user lifetime, it is more of a like a statistical analysis on your own application. But in usual cases, if your user lifetime is a couple of years, you are definitely going to get 3x or 5x even out of the current amount that you are getting for one-time purchase for the app. So it is more of a making your business reliable and less stressful in terms of marketing. I personally built applications with one-time purchase, and also I made money with the software as a service principle. And I'll say the marketing budget that you are spending in order to get a bunch of downloads for one-time purchase app is going to be a constant same amount of money compared to software as a service, where you are going to have couple of marketing campaigns with some intervals where you have to grow your customer base, but you also trying to update your application as many times as possible just to keep your users happy and make them more recurring payments. So they are completely different business models, and not all applications actually fitting into software as a service. If you can think about like applications, for example, there is a pretty popular application for the MacBooks called Magnet. It just allows you to drag windows for the like top corner, left corner with the short keys, which is not like available functionality by default on macOS. They are like pretty cheap. It's I believe $3 or $5 in the Mac store, but they actually not fitting into software as a service category, because I don't need to pay, for example, every month for Magnet application just to get a functionality of dragging windows. That's it. So if you have an app or you're building app with a pretty simple functionality where you don't care about user retention, or it's just a very small thing that you are trying to fix, then it's not makes sense to think about software as a service. So I have here opened the App Store and top paid apps category, where we have like first the magnet itself, which I have been describing. It is pretty simple in terms of functionality app, but it costs some amount of money, and it also has a lot of downloads on a Mac store. It's pretty popular. I believe they don't have that much of consistency of app downloads. In that way, that's why they don't have like predictable amount of income as a company that they're trying to achieve. For example, each company itself is the keeping some goals of the monthly revenues, and if you have only an application which is paid upon purchase and user is not making any recurring payments, then it is going to be more of a making sure that your marketing campaigns are running consistently on the same target base, just to make some kind of prediction about what kind of amount you are going to earn this or that month. But it is more of unpredictable stuff. Another really good example of a one-time purchase application, it's the to-do application called Things. So they actually have this concept, which is also applicable for some sort of applications. For example, they have a one-time purchase, you are just buying that, and they also have an iOS app that you also have to purchase one time. They don't have like subscription model, but every time when they are releasing a new version, you have to buy a new version in order to update their app. So and you have to buy that from the App Store, which means that they are basically deleting their previous application and they are adding a new one just to purchase that. So if you are, for example, if you love this application, then most probably you will find it interesting to buy a new version of that. So in terms of like to-do application, Things 3 is actually has pretty aggressive competitors like TickTick or Todoist. They both giving their applications from the store for free, and they have premium membership subscription, which is completely different business model here, because they actually charging for you for using their premium features only, and they are charging that annually. For example, TickTick is almost $30 annually, and till you are not canceled your subscription, they are going to charge you at the end of each year. This makes sense in terms of user as well, because for example, if I purchase Things 3 and I'm not happy with the app after like couple of months, I can't basically just refund my money from that purchase, because it's just a one-time payment. But in TickTick's case, you actually paying as much time as you are using the application. For example, if I'm using 1 year TickTick Premium and I'm not happy about the overall workflow process that they are putting together, I can basically switch to Todoist or any other to-do application at the end of the year, and I'm not have to pay more for that. Of course, for the user perspective, it's not cheaper than paying one-time payment, but because there's constant applications that coming up and a lot of updates, and also company can go off, you don't have to think about why I'm paying so much one time. You just paying that incrementally, and over time, if the app owner builds its app pretty solidly and you're pretty happy with the workflow itself, you are going to spend more amount of money, but incrementally, not from the beginning, which is pretty bad entry point for any application by charging, for example, up to $50 or a couple of $100 for just purchasing one time. It's just about consumer software. So enterprise software is a little bit different story, but same SaaS principle works also there. And another like good example for the business model of simple consumer applications is Notion. So the only difference between free and professional versions, if you can see, it's just the amount of how much space you can use and how much blocks you can use. If you're familiar with Notion, it's they have like every kind of like text or note or to-do item. It's just a block, so it is just limited to your usage, but they have all the features opens of also for free users. That's like the complete different model from TickTick or Todoist, where they are just basically closing premium features until you will pay for that. But Notion itself is just opens everything but limits the usage stuff. If the idea behind this is that if you like the process, how they put it, all the features together, or you like the overall application workflow, you will pay that amount anyway because you already use that and you love the process. That's the idea behind. And again, these kind of softwares are more predictable in terms of revenue, because if user comes as a free user, then makes a purchase for the premium membership and it stays a couple of months, then that user will probably stay forever until you as an app developer won't screw up something inside your app or you won't go out of the business. So that's probably it for the consumer software. And for like B2B slash consumer also software, I just wanted to bring a very quick example of JetBrains. I'm sure if like you are a developer, you're familiar with this company. They are building a WebStorm, PHP Storm, of course, IntelliJ IDEA. They are like built a Kotlin programming language itself, which is default language for making Android apps right now. So they have their coding environments or IDEs with the paid membership kind of stuff. But at the beginning, when they just started to release their IDs, it was just a one-time purchase and you can use that like forever, or you can just purchase that for your organization with the set amount of people and that's it. But for the past, I believe 2 or 3 years ago, they switched into subscription-based model where you actually don't need to pay upfront 1,000 or more for getting just this ID. Instead, you are just paying, for example, if you can see for the individual, you are paying $89 per single developer usage per year. But it was previously was about 1,500 for a single developer, and in that way you are not actually getting like comfortable to pay that much of amount of money till you don't understand what you're actually getting out of that. But by lowering your entry point for your customers, which means that if you are a software engineer and you know that you need a professional IDE, paying $89 upfront for the IDE which is already pretty popular, is very low entry barrier, and paying that amount of money per year compared what amount of money developer earns over the year is very low, compared if you are asking them to pay 1,000, more than 1,000 upfront and one time. Of course, over time, if developer stays and works as a developer for a couple of years, it will add up as a more payment for the developer itself, but that also beneficial for the individual usage, because you're actually getting all updates, all bug fixes. There is no limitation on what kind of services you can use under that yearly payment. So that's why, like, switching or thinking about what kind of application or service you are going to build in order to set into SaaS model, I believe it's crucial for current IT sphere, because all of the companies, like even the older ones like Microsoft or SAP or even Oracle, just trying to switch this SaaS model or already switched a couple of their products. So that's mostly it for this video. Uh, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell icon just to be notified whenever I put a new video. It is more of a developer and a little bit of a business and marketing side for this kind of queue of videos. Other than that, you can check out our desktop application building process and videos coming up regularly, so don't forget to subscribe.